You couldn't let go of your characters, Alex, and doing so you may have just doomed more than just Gravity Falls. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Anyway, as you can tell by the title, I changed my mind and I wanted to do a theory of sorts on Gravity Falls, as the final ever episode aired last week. So I thought, as a little farewell to the series, let's make a little theory on this ending we got. Keep in mind, this is just for fun, guys. I'm not actually trying to ruin the series for you, nor am I saying this is correct. I mean, why would I call it a theory if I thought I was correct? You can look at the series however you want to. That being said, let's get on to it. So I'm assuming everyone that's still here has seen the finale, or they just don't really mind about spoilers. So for those who are not aware, I'll just recap on what happened. Bill wants to escape Gravity Falls, but because of the
Gravity Falls' natural law of weirdness magnetism,
this is preventing Bill from leaving Gravity Falls and spreading his weirdness across the world. There is a way to solve this, but the only person who knows how is Ford. Bill tries to enter his mind to find out how, but realizes he can't unless if Ford agrees and allows him to enter. Eventually, him and Stan switch clothes, tricking Bill into entering Stan's mind instead. Once he enters, Ford pulls out the memory gun and uses it on Stan while Bill is trapped inside. It destroys Bill, but also every memory Stan ever had. The ultimate sacrifice. Hey, I was right! Stan was the one that did the sacrifice thingy. I just didn't predict he'd get his memory back 10 seconds later. Now, it is a really touching moment when you see him gaining his memory back. And it's kind of fitting as well that he got his memories back from this one summer. But you can't deny that he got his memory back pretty fast, since it was his entire life that was erased. That's right, his entire life, from the day he was born to the day they're in right now. It was wiped from his mind, and it was all brought back from this one summer? Oh, and Waddles, of course. That's one powerful pig! Now, to be honest, we could just write this off as a little plot hole in the story, but that would make this theory video very boring. So, let's just look into this a little more. This memory gun was used by the Society of the Blind Eye to wipe the minds of the village people in Gravity Falls. Every time one of them saw something strange, like gnomes stealing pie or a Street Fighter character coming to life and beating the crap out of you, the Society of the Blind Eye would wipe that memory from their minds with the memory gun. The people in the village could go about their day completely unaware about the things happening around them. When the Blind Eye had possession of the gun, they were only erasing like, 5 minutes of people's memories? Sometimes maybe a couple of hours, but it was never anything as extreme as Grunkle Stan's memory wipe. Yet, these few hours, maybe days of people's memories, never returned to the village people in Gravity Falls. Even after this cult, or whatever it was called, was taken down by the twins, no one ever seemed to remember what they saw later on in the series. Yet, with Stan, his entire memory was wiped. And by looking at a couple of pictures and hearing Waddles, he gained all his memories back within just a few hours, possibly less than that. If that's the case, then this gun is pretty useless, as you would be able to get your memories back with the slightest trigger, meaning everyone in Gravity Falls who got zapped by this gun would be remembering everything within 24 hours of being seen to by the Blind Eye with just the smallest triggers. This comment actually got my attention on this. If Stan could get every memory he ever had back from just one summer scrapbook, wouldn't the people of Gravity Falls eventually be figuring out what's happening in Gravity Falls? Which is a very good point, to be honest. I mean, even with Old Man McGucket, he lost his entire memory too, but he never got his memories back. I mean, yeah, that was more of a case of using the gun too many times, which eventually erased his entire memory. So it is slightly different to Stan's case, but he didn't actually get all of his memories back. Even when watching his actual memories on video, it still didn't bring them back. Or even seeing pictures of the Blind Eye, he just kind of got glimpses of his past. Yet McGucket still knew how to build machines, so he still had that knowledge of how to build stuff, meaning he had some sort of memory to actually work off of. And Grunkle Stan's case was a lot worse, as he had forgotten pretty much everything. Bringing in another example, even the FBI agents never got their memory back. Otherwise they would have been swarming the Mystery Shack later in the show. And putting all this together, it leads me to believe there's a little more to Stan's ending and sacrifice than we actually first thought. Having read a news report with Alex Hirsch answering questions shortly after the finale aired, he stated he never felt any of the main characters were in danger, and he couldn't see any of them dying. He couldn't do that to any of the characters that he'd created. He loved them too much to punish them with death. And looking back on the show, this is actually true for the main characters, that is. Even with Time Baby, he didn't actually kill him off. If you decode one of the messages in Weirdmageddon Part 1, you'll find this message. It will take 1,000 years for Time Baby's molecules to reconstitute, and when he's back, he's going to be very cranky. So Time Baby isn't actually dead. He's just gonna take some time to recover. These hidden messages are placed in episodes by Alex Hirsch himself. He obviously couldn't say goodbye to Time Baby, which makes me wonder, could he have really said goodbye to Bill? I mean, Bill was a much bigger character than Time Baby, and I bet that was such a fun character to play as well. If he couldn't let Time Baby die, and keep in mind Time Baby in the future was causing just as much destruction as Bill was, if not more, so what makes us think he could let Bill die? Well, that's the thing. He couldn't. Alex knew Stan had to do something incredible to make up with his brother Ford, but he didn't want him to die or lose him forever. Same with Bill. He was threatening, but he didn't want to see him leave forever either. So, he put the two together to save each other. Bill in his last moments when he's in Stan's mind seems to be saying something that just sounds like a bunch of nonsense. But when you play it in reverse, you realize he's chanting this. The OXO thingy is actually one of these cute little creatures I think Alex Hirsch put in as a joke, which I find absolutely awesome. But the rest of it is chanting in hopes he would return. So what does this mean? Well, I believe this chant saved Stan's memories. He needed somewhere to hide, and without the memories in a mind, he would clearly just be destroyed. So, with this chant, I believe he sent Stan's memories into a corner or somewhere in Stan's mind that the memory gun couldn't reach. Bill would hide in there and stay dormant until something triggers Stan's memories to come flying back. And, shortly after this, that's exactly what happens. Mabel shows him a couple of pictures from the scrapbook of this summer, Waddles makes a noise, and boom. It triggers his memories to come flying back into place, but unfortunately, so does Bill. So yes, I believe Bill is still in Stanley's mind, alive and well. However, he doesn't decide to show himself. He stays inside Stan's mind, and for good reason. Obviously, if you pay attention to the whole story of the final episode, it was about Bill trying to leave Gravity Falls and spreading the weirdness worldwide. But he couldn't in his body. But Stanley's body can. In this episode, they really like to point out Bill's body just left there in the woods, abandoned. Even the last thing we ever see in the show is one last glimpse of Bill. This could be a subtle hint that the reason Bill couldn't leave Gravity Falls was because it was his body that was preventing him from leaving. When we see him enter Grunkle Stan, we see him leave his body behind. And later on, after hearing Ford speaking about weird anomalies occurring outside of Gravity Falls, and not only that, asks Stanley to come with him, staying hidden in Stan's mind not only will allow Bill to leave Gravity Falls, but Stan and Ford will lead Bill straight to the anomalies that could potentially bring his friends into this dimension worldwide. All Bill needs to do is just sit back, stay hidden, stay out of sight. We even see Grunkle Stan and Ford working together, traveling to these anomalies. So this is showing us that Stan can definitely leave Gravity Falls while Bill is inside his mind. It's only a matter of time before Bill spoils the fun. So the question is now, would we ever see this happen? Well, Alex Hirsch has said the story is not 100% over. He's just taking some time away from it, and then we'll see how things go. If he feels comfortable enough to tell another story, he'll tell it. But until then, Gravity Falls will end here for now. But that doesn't mean we couldn't see Bill break free into another TV show, as there's actually a subtle connection between Gravity Falls and Rick and Morty. As you can see, these items fly from Stanley's hand into the portal and appear on the other side in a completely different show. How awesome would that be to have Bill break free and end up in Rick and Morty's world? Imagine him going up against Rick. I just think that'd be absolutely hilarious. You wouldn't even need any of the other characters from Gravity Falls, just Bill himself. Alex, Justin, make it happen! Anyway, that's my theory, guys. It's probably not true, but I like to think it is, and hey, maybe you do too. If you have any theories yourself on the finale, or just in general, then feel free to leave them in the comments below. I love reading them. Thanks for all your support, guys. Stay safe, and don't pull a Picard.